No. The way I program, again, this is for the Jewish Film Festival or the Genre Film Festival, is very much the same as the way that you would want to put together a sports team. You make sure that you first and foremost have the very best of the best in your lineup, on your roster. And then second to that, you want to make sure that they work together. You know, Wim Wenders once said when he was asked about some of the rules that he has when he's making a film. You know, how difficult is it, you know, to be working with some amazing photographers that he's worked with, like Robbie Mueller, for instance. He said, you know, the hardest part is that they're so creative and they're so gifted that looking at content, you're almost sometimes having to compromise the narrative of the film, the story element of it, for a beautiful shot, just because it's so remarkably beautiful that you really want to just insert it into the plot. But you know that it will not work together. It's going to just distract from the flow of the film and has no other use besides just its sheer beauty. Similarly, you want to make sure that you have the greatest players on your team that you can imagine possible, but you need to make sure that they work together. You need to make sure that there's chemistry and flow. And similarly, I'd like to add, for a film program, you don't want to have a film that's going to take away from all the other movies that you have in your lineup. However great the movie is, if there's something that's significantly lacking in it, if it just doesn't have the right sense of soul or a sense of connection with our community that you feel is really important, maybe it's not right to include it. I've passed on some big Hollywood films, big films, for our festival. And they've gone on to other major festivals and have done modestly well. But it didn't serve the interests of our program. Just didn't connect with how we're trying to educate our audience, how we're trying to create film-going experiences for them. We are a festival, the Miami Jewish Film Festival is a festival that really is positioned towards education. Entertainment is important, but we really strive towards outreach and education. The genre festival, Popcorn Frights, it's similar. Believe it or not, I really want to believe that it is similarly positioned, because in both festivals, audiences are walking through the door with a set stereotype. There is a belief of what a horror movie is, and there is a belief of what a Jewish or Israeli film or a people are. And my task is to break those stereotypes. And I think that's a huge responsibility, but one that I'm very privileged to have. I'm excited about the challenge, always, every year, about looking at a movie and thinking, how is that film, how is this story, how is this film-going experience going to elevate the possibility for discussion, a sense of wonder, and maybe even a sense of discovery. Our audience, as it has grown, has also reached a lot of non-Jewish or Israeli people. People who just come to the festival because they love art, because they just want to see a great film that they wouldn't be able to see anywhere else. Similarly with Popcorn Frights, you would think that we would just draw one type of horror lover, but we don't. We draw an audience that's as diverse as you can imagine. That's as diverse as our actual Miami community, from teenagers to retirees. Because there's a promise that we have been able to create, that if you come to any of our screenings, you will have that sense of discovery. and a promise of great quality.